Dat, God bless. Welcome back to the Dat Confessional podcast, where today we're going to talk about some of the analytics and film notes from the Week 2 loss. And look, if you're a Saints fan who's acknowledged we're in a rebuilding mode, there's a special thing that can do for you. It can let you enjoy things even if you lose. And I really enjoyed watching this tape. Would I have liked to win this game? Absolutely. Should they have won this game? Yeah, I'm going to bang that table too. Absolutely. But there's some really good stuff to see here. Also some negatives I want to highlight. Some opinions that we had on Sunday that might have changed slightly or being reinforced. And you can only find those out if you sit here with me and Elias and talk. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm enjoying that you're enjoying the tape.
You know, it's crazy to talk about enjoying something when your team's 0-2, but truly I have. Like Spencer Rattler, which we're not going to spend a lot of time on today because I think we gave him his flowers on Sunday, had a really good game. He only had a handful of plays that you go, wasn't great. And for a guy that's in his 8th game, we'll definitely take that. To the point, if you've looked on socials, he's even starting to get national, recognition, which, hey, if he can pull it off and keep winning, or keep playing well, I should say, because obviously no wins yet. But happy for that. But do want to talk about some offense. Let's start with that, and then I'll get your insights. I'm going to start with a hot take. I'm actually start with a negative. I want to get the negative out of the way. Cesar Ruiz is in his 6th year. And since he got drafted, one of the things that I said and every analyst said was he had great technique, lacked functional play strength, had to get stronger to consistently play at right guard. And while he never became a Pro Bowl level talent, you can look at other analytics, whether you look at PFR, who uses SIS, you can look at PFF run blocking grades, which I don't recommend, but I will acknowledge my bias and still say, hey, go look at what they do. Ruiz has never been like the worst. He significantly improved compared to where he was, but he never became a Pro Bowl guy. In his contract year, he played well enough to earn a re-sign. Now, last year, didn't play great. Eagles game should be brought up, stuff like that. And then this year, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Week 2, if Trevor Penning came back, bench Ruiz, start Radins at right guard, and to me, it's not even a debate at this point. He is playing that level of bad. He's overextending. His center of gravity is up there with y'all in the 600 section. This man is just a turnstile in the most literal sense. And I hate it because it's easy for our recency bias to go, oh, he's always been bad, but he wasn't this bad. And right now he is that bad.
You've always wanted to say that. That's what you've been holding on to about Ruiz for quite some time. You try to disguise it under this, I don't want to talk about.
I liked him for the first 6 years in.
That's what you've been waiting to do, Red.
Yes, 6 years in. Yes, you're right. 6 years. First 3 or 4 years, we're giving him a little bit of growth. Hey, year 3 for offensive linemen is usually a thing. We're twice that amount now, man. We're double it. Right? How many times are you going to tell the kids that you're not going to give them something to eat, and then after they've not eaten their spaghetti, an hour later you make them a bowl of cereal? You can't keep giving them leeway. You got to pull it back. Don't ask where that analogy came from. Right?
He heated. He's heated. Look, man, we're going to keep it real simple with Ruiz. Ruiz ain't got enough mass and ass. That's number one part of the problem. Not enough mass and ass. Number 2, every huge hit that a Saints quarterback has taken over the last 6 years has come behind Ruiz.
It's a little allegorical, but there's some truth to what you're saying.
Enough is, Twitter can bend it enough that I do believe it. I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there. I do believe that behind every hard hit for a Saints quarterback, there was a Ruiz missed block. Or he got overpowered. That's just where I'm at on it. But honestly, he doesn't have enough mass and ass play right guard. He's not squat. You want that offensive line. I think the way that Moore wants to build that offensive line, he wants to have some interior people movers. And Ruiz is not that. He is definitely more of a center or a primary zone blocker. The Saints actually, I'm not sure about last week, but the first week versus the Cardinals, they were actually split 50-50 between zone and man blocking, which is something that Kellen Moore is known for. He's not exclusively zone. I think Ruiz definitely is more of a zone player, but he's probably more of a center too, as Baldy talked out. I just don't see how he stays on this team beyond next year, and I don't see how he retains a starting spot beyond Week 10.
My problem is, and this is kind of point of what I wanted to bring up, is it's not even like the man blocking he's struggling. I'll even put on the screen a Ruiz zone block. And I made this comment to one of the commenters, he's always had a problem. And he's having an issue with the new play caller. I'm like, He's run the same outside zone run with AK and with McCoy to the left of him for 6 years. Like, so this shouldn't be new, but he's showing those instances. And when he came into the league, one of his pros was decent technique to good technique. But now that's gone, and you don't have the strength to make up for it either. So whatever has happened to him, it's been a negative to the point that you're impeding Rattler, AK, Kendre Miller, anybody's ability to move to the right, whether they're talking scramble drill to the right, where we're talking running zone to the right, even running manpower. You're certainly not going to trust him to run a trap block with him. So unless there's a massive improvement, that's the first benching I'm calling for, is Ruiz to sit down. And I don't care if you like Raddens or somebody else to come in, because I know there have been a few people that have been shouting out, hey, what about Simpkins? You know, I get that he's younger, stuff like that. For me, the reason I choose Raddens, just all transparency, because he started at right guard for the Tennessee Titans. So you have an NFL starter who's done that, and I think he'd be better than Ruiz without it being as much of a question mark. If you want to argue for Simpkins or something to be there, I'm not going to fight you on it. My issue is that's your number one problem on the offense right now, which is sad because Fuaga, who is injured, had a solid game. Like, he wasn't a bad player, and he's injured. And Banks, on the opposite side, I'm gonna pull a Shaq. I wasn't aware of your game. Like, I knew he was good, but the 2 games that we've seen, and I know it's 2 games, which is not enough to even build a scouting report, but the mental processing is what's impressed me the most with Banks. He has looked fantastic.
Thank you for making me look like an ass clown by defending Ruiz with the zone comment. And yet, more importantly, just to briefly touch back on that, it was called out during during the broadcast of the game that at one point the 49ers slid Bosa inside.
Mm-hmm.
And that tells you all you need to know about the scouting report on Ruiz. So moving to Kelvin Banks, I really do like the fight that he showed. I think he through preseason, he looked really good as a pass blocker.
Mm-hmm.
Saw some things I'd like to see improved. Run blocking, think that's a work in progress, but for a left tackle, that's something that they can get better at as they get older. You want to see him be good at pass blocking, or otherwise he's going to look like Trevor Penning in his rookie year. Not good. So I like the play. Fuaga did fine from his side. I really do think the Saints should give him some time to rest, though. I think it's a long season. He's clearly favoring that knee.
Yeah.
Like, you can see it even in the fight where everybody ran up to protect Rattler. Fuaga was the last person to get there. He walked all the way there while everyone ran. He then, when he turned around, you can see him being very ginger on that knee, getting back on the field. They should give him a couple of weeks to rest.
So here's the tricky question then. When Penning's healthy, do you put him in there for Fuaga to let Fuaga get some healing, which leaves Ruiz in the game?
Yeah, because that's still going to be your best. That's probably still going to, they do still have Penning listed as a guard / tackle on the website. Now, I would like to think that Kellen Moore is meticulous, and I would like to think that if he was only a guard, then they wouldn't put that / there. But that is something to consider.
Well, the only other
also
person
considering the familiarity there as well.
Yeah, because the only other person they have is Asim Richards, which is the guy you picked up from Dallas, who's really not taken any snaps, barely had any practice yet. So don't really feel there's a lot of options, which is kind of your problem with the Ruiz situation, is like, you need a fix, but as we've told people for years, offensive line play is not easy. Now, I want to be very clear, like, all the things we're saying, Spencer Rattler through 2 games only has a 13% pressure rate. Now, is that as amazing as we would want it to be? No, but for reference, last year, Jake Hayner had 34%, Derek Carr had 24%, right? So we're still significantly lower than last year, which was bad offensive line play. Now, that was an entire season's worth, but still, even with the issues we're having, we're seeing Spencer have a better opportunity to try to showcase his ability and grow. So even with Ruiz playing bad, which I do want to say, I do believe he is, it's not costing them games. Like, it's not that bad of an offensive line play. They can still win.
So you're telling me that Banks was the right selection in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to find me not like an offensive line in the first round. He wasn't necessarily my guy, and I'll be open about that. But has he come out and done really well? Absolutely, and deserves his flowers for it. Let's see if he can keep it going.
I'm with it. Let's anything else you want to touch on the offense, or you want to swing down to
one more thing I do want to mention, just because a lot of people talked about it and they asked about separation for the receivers. I would say I don't really notice a huge separation issue. I think that there is still timing issues between Rattler and some of the receivers, right? And before anybody says anything, oh, Rev's hating on Rattler again. Rattler himself said this in an interview. So, like, I don't need y'all coming for me.
You are hating on him. I just want you to know that.
Look, I knew it.
You know
I knew it. I was waiting.
No, you want to know why I know you hate on him?
Why? Tell me.
Because you mentioned very clearly at the beginning of the part, we're not going to spend much time, and yet here you find yourself.
Well, I'm talking about the receivers.
Find your way back to Rattler because
Can you
want to
talk about the
it,
receivers and not talk about Rattler?
You really don't favor him that much.
Well,
it's based in reality.
I mean, but can you talk about
based in reality
the receivers and not talk about Rattler? I think it's an extension, and I think they
could have
together.
talked about the receivers without going into Rattler.
I don't think I can.
Prefacing it.
Not when it comes to timing, and a good example of that is the missed shot in the end zone. Right, there was a timing issue there, and Rattler talked about being a timing issue. And my hope is those timing issues, which aren't are they open or are they not opening? That is a progression thing. That is going to get better the more they play. At least that's the theory, right? The more they work together, especially because we talked about last year, Olave wasn't really around much. I mean, he suffered with concussion. Shaheed wasn't around much. One guy that I think is kind of going under the radar in a good way is Cooks. The reason I say that is if you look at the stats and you look at his catches, every catch except for one for Brandon Cooks so far, which is not a lot, has been a first down. And if there's one thing that I would like to see build is not only do I want to see a relationship for Rattler building with Olave and Shaheed, but I want to see more Cooks of that because Cooks is now, he's buried in the depth chart at this point in his career, right? He's not going to be a 100 reception, 1,000-yard receiver, but he has shown he's still got very capable hands, very capable underneath as a drop-off point or as an escape route for third down conversions. And I'd like to see more of that. So the idea of these guys aren't getting open, I don't really buy in a lot. There are definitely coverages where they are not wide open. But I want to point out that at the NFL level, if you've got 3 feet of space, you're open. 1 yard, that is open. And a good example of that, the Rashid Shaheed throw. Rashid Shaheed had 1 step and a dime dropped into the bucket with a great catch by Shaheed. That is open. That is a window throw in a window zone. That's what they're having. It's just getting to the point where they're hitting it consistently. And Brandon Cooks is actually the one that surprises me because of the reliability converting first downs.
In a roundabout way, Rev is telling everybody that whoever was making excuses for Rattler that there was not separation or there was separation issues, they are getting NFL level separation, and that a lot of those misses have to do with Rattler's ball location. That's what he's trying to tell you. He's going to say it in the cute way. I'm just going to tell you what he's still thinking because Rattler isn't his technical preference, and it's okay.
Hold on.
We don't
in
care.
This game, Rattler was my preference. I want to say that because this one game. Now, I corrected somebody. I know you laughing, but I got to say this because I won't hide how I evaluate. I can see you. I can see it.
Because you keep trying to explain it.
Look, I am who I am, and I won't deny it. But I want to say one thing about Rattler. I want to say one more thing. Can we talk about
Brandon Staley?
No, we're talking about Rattler, Dad. This is the Rattler episode, okay? This is Who Dat Rattler. Let me tell you about Rattler. For real though, Rattler shout out. He only had I had less than 5 bad throws. And I want to give him credit for that. Now, if he doesn't do it in Seattle, I'm taking it back. I'm giving it here today, right now, on Who Dat Rattler.
He still had to point out. He couldn't help but point out that the man only had 5 bad throws.
That's good. That's good.
You could have said he was good without even pointing out the 5 bad throws. You could have just said Rattler had a good game.
He threw 3 touchdowns.
Man, hey, listen. Can we talk about the defense, please?
We can.
I'm tired of your love affair with Rattler.
I love
and your
Rattler.
hate affair with Rattler.
It is a love. It's a marriage. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's a
clearly
marriage.
it gets you going.
And you know what? But isn't that a good thing? Isn't it good that we can have fun with football again? Come on.
It's better if we could go talk about some defense.
Who? What? What is that? I'm not aware what that is. All right, let's talk about Staley. Enough jokes aside. You've got some interesting stats on that defensive side when you get to the Giggles at your system. I want to say my number one issue with Staley is I don't understand what he wants to do in some of his plays. Like truly, like as the guy who likes to laud himself with the narcissist that is Rev, talking about all the years he spent at scouting school and getting to work with Titans and Saints. I'll be honest, I don't know some of the logic behind some of these designs. Now, some of these plays are great. All right. And I do think that there is one major area missing, and that's pressure. And I believe they should blitz more. That is my simple answer for that. But I do have to raise the question. Why do we have plays where Carl Granderson is lined up, and I'm not exaggerating, over 10 yards away from the quarterback with Pete Warner stacked behind him? Basically, he's lined up as a nickel corner, but he's not rerouting receivers. He's not jamming anybody. He's not messing with tight ends. He's being asked to rush from 12 yards away. I don't understand that as a design.
So you mean to tell me Granderson is being asked to rush from 12 yards away on occasion, and Pete is being asked to drop 25 to 30 yards from the line of scrimmage on some occasions? So what you're telling me is that we have a defensive coordinator whose play design is him trying to do too goddamn much.
I think we said on Sunday he's being cute. And I want to put one thing, because I think it'll play into what you're going to say. A good coordinator builds his defense around the positives of his players. And what he's doing in this play is not positive for Warner or Granderson.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to shed some light on this for you. Most defensive coordinators start from where? What is normally their position or position coach where normally most of your defensive coordinators come from?
I mean, me spitballing on a lot of ones I've been recently been secondary coaches.
Precisely. You know why most defensive coordinators are secondary coaches first? Because they understand how the coverage ties to the front.
Mm-hmm.
What was Brandon Staley's position coach?
Like, who was his position coach?
I mean, what position was he known for coaching? Under Fangio specifically. He got his cut under what position?
Safety, right?
No.
Was it not safety?
He was the linebackers coach.
Oh, linebacker coach. Yeah.
There aren't very many defensive coordinators that were also linebacker coaches.
Mm.
When I did the research on him, as him being potential DC, I started to come across videos, articles that were highlighting his time from the Chargers and how the Chargers secondary seemed to be in these compromising and confusing situations that didn't make sense based on what the front was doing.
Yeah.
He struggles with tying the coverage to the front. And that's going to be an issue. I was hoping we got a good secondary coach that would help him have those conversations better. But watch this. When I did the research, there were a lot of players that with that San Diego team, they were not fond of him as a coordinator. They say he tried to do too goddamn much. What are the odds that his 1 year with his one defense that was very good in the Rams, do you remember what happened that year?
Tell us.
They had the lockout. What if the guy known for having all the answers to everything, having all of these elaborate schemes, what if during the lockout? Because sometimes we have things that we have happen to us that we see as obstacles, but really they're meant to push us forward in life.
Mm-hmm.
What if the lockout made him just simplify the damn defense on top of having access to two generational players in Ramsey and Donald? If I had to guess, this scheme is trying to do too goddamn much right now. And the easiest way to simplify having a linebacker not drop or not be good in coverage is to just send him on the goddamn blitz any damn way. Just send him on the blitz. If the ball is going to be completed on him in coverage, you're adding him to the coverage, but the ball is still getting completed where he should be at, which means he's a damn ghost on the play. You might as well be playing 10 versus 11. So you might as well remove him from the coverage and add him to the rush.
And to be clear, we're talking about Pete Warner in that instance.
whoever you're blitzing, he has shown a tendency to want to rush 4,
Yeah.
right? But you're not getting the pass rush pressure with just
Agreed.
the 4. So you're taking a defender to drop him in coverage, but he's useless in coverage. Doesn't matter who, they're in a bad predicament. So just add them to the rush so that it's 5 in the rush, 6 on the back end. At least you have a better chance of setting up one-on-ones for the other players to make plays versus having the play made on them. Doesn't matter who it is, he needs to blitz more.
Yeah, I agree. Big thing for me, because I think Granderson is, based on how the first 2 weeks have gone, I'll say your best defensive player on the field right now is Carl Granderson. And what can you do to help out Granderson to be even better? Because he's tied with the NFL lead for sacks, by the way, which, again, sacks aren't everything, but it sure means a lot when you're trying to win football games. I think you want to try to give him as many one-on-ones as possible. And simply bringing a fifth. Yeah, hit me with it.
We're going to throw out the stat because I think I told it to you in the text message that we were having. Remember, you mentioned that you felt like Carl Granderson was dropping in coverage too much, right? Well, Granderson, as the right outside linebacker, is dropping into coverage on more than 20% of his snaps. Cam Jordan is around 5% as the Sam. Cam is definitely not being asked to drop very often. So what it's led to is the number of snaps he's had as a pass rusher. He's actually behind
Brzee for sure.
He's behind Brzee and he's behind Cam.
Yeah.
In snaps as a pass rusher. So I think at this point, let's see.
And this is
those numbers.
Why I believe bringing in a fifth helps so much. Yeah, hit me with it.
Brzee, 65 rush snaps. Jordan has had 62 rush snaps. Granderson has had 51. Now, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 extra pass rush snaps might not seem like a lot.
But in over a 2-game span, that's
actually a great deal because you're 1-2 snaps away from an instant pressure that changes a play. Right? So if you're going to say a 50% chance he makes a play, then that's at least 8 opportunities or at least 8 of his rushes that may potentially affect the play.
Yeah.
He's being too passive. Staley is. He's being too passive. All in the same vein, again, you research that Fangio defense. It's designed to have players play moving forward, not backwards. It's easier for a guy to come up and play the ball than it is for him to retreat and play the ball. How many times have you seen Zach Bond dropping 30 yards down the line of scrimmage? You know where Zach Bond does a lot of his best work? In that middle area of the field and going forward. So he is messing with the philosophy of the defense by constantly asking the linebackers to drop 15, 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. It's okay to do that as a changeup, but that goes against what the actual philosophy of the defense is. If you're going to creep them up that way, let them go forward. You might as well send them on the blitz more than you drop them. Just let the drop be a changeup, not the identity. And that's what it's been. And it's been pretty predictable because it's not getting the confusion. Because what they're doing is they're lining one of the linebackers up in the A gap, and the defense is based on that 4-0-4 technique. So the linebacker is just a replacement for the nose that's no longer there. What he's meant to do is hold the center for long enough that the center gets confused on who he has to pick up, and that split second creates the one-on-one that you're not getting if you were sending 5. Unfortunately, the portion of it is working as far as the center does have to hold the attention, but then A, the pass rush isn't getting there with just the 4, but B, the linebacker is also a non-factor in coverage, so it's breaking on 2 levels. So you can fix both by sending the extra rusher, evening it out to 5 men, and then letting it play out from there.
And I'd argue that would even make the pass coverage, which we do say is a liability for guys like Warner, better, because now you actually have to respect that rush. But, yeah, that was some good stuff, man. There's our Staley thoughts. He's a little bit confusing. I'm going to give him a couple games to work it out, but need more pressure, number 1.
He's going to be. I said it in the talk. He's going to be what Gary Gibbs was to Sean Payton. Staley. That's going to be Staley to Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is going to have to go and find him a Greg Williams.
Love it. Hey, let us know what y'all thought about the pod, about the things we talked about. Comment section down below. Hopefully having fun. Hopefully you're having some laughs. Hopefully you learned a little bit.
ThanksFootballTalk.com. Y'all go to my website, Rev Post, my website in the bottom. Stop playing with me.
It's there.
Post my website.
It's in the description.
Go to the website. Check out the articles. Check out the videos. And even the giveaways. Because when the next home games come around, I will be giving away 2 tickets to the home game. Hopefully they're not being, because I don't want them getting filled with opposing fans. God damn it.
Yeah.
So go to SaintsFootballTalk.com.
Next game is Buffalo, right?
Enjoy yourself. Next game is next game is Seattle.
No,
next game
for
is
the
Seattle.
tickets. For the tickets.
No, we also play Buffalo away, so I think that it's the game after that.
Oh, I thought Buffalo was a home game.
I thought Buffalo was a away game. I do think Buffalo is an away game.
Let me double check.
I think we 2 aways.
Yep, it is. Giants.
Yeah.
Sorry. Giants. Yeah. Still. Who dat? God bless. We love you. Check out SaintsFootballTalk.com. We'll see you Thursday.